Lyra Valkyria turning on Bayley. Did you see it? Did you think that Lyra had it in her? And like Corey Graves said, Lyra's the one that lost the match. She's the one that got pinned.
Thank God she did it.
Yeah, it's about time. I actually thought if there was one person that was going to turn, it was going to be Bayley, based on just the way Bayley's been. But people love Bayley way too much.
Ding,
Lyra
ding,
is
ding.
the way to go. Yeah, Lyra is the way to go.
You can have your Candy Dinty Moore beef stew back. People love Bayley all too much and want to love Bayley all too much. We talk about certain people in wrestling, like, you know, I've used Cody in the past. As loved as Cody is, deep down inside, Cody Rhodes is a heel. As much as Bayley has tried to be a heel at times, deep down inside, Bayley is a babyface. You can't be a hugger and not be a warm, compassionate, friendly babyface. Lyra, a little bit of stop and go on Lyra since she debuted, but I liked what I saw last night. I loved the way Lyra threw Bayley into the ropes. Ropes are very dangerous. Guys and gals have got hurt by the ring ropes and hitting them a certain way plenty of times. When you hit the ropes, if you don't grab the ropes a certain way, there's a good chance that you're going to go through the ropes and the top rope is going to catch the back of your head. You're going to get rope burn.
It happened to Enzo.
Exactly. It did. So the way she threw Bayley into the ropes, the way Bayley took it, it looked very violent. And that's what you need. I need to see you wanting to hurt that person. I don't want to see I want to see intent. Lyra had the intent to be violent and hurt Bayley in that moment. As a matter of fact, I would have let that moment breathe a little bit more. I would have thrown her in and let her sell that front whiplash bump a little bit more because it looked so good. I would have just stood there and took it in a little bit more and then got back on her.
It's a great point, Bully, because it was vicious. And they moved on pretty quick. I would have sold it. It was vicious. It really was. I was surprised that they did because I know, like you've explained it before, how dangerous those ropes could be.
I remember one time in the WWE, this is kind of an example. Early on, me and Devon had a 3D on somebody, and then we started to put the boots to them. And we got back to Gorilla, and Vince goes, "Why did you start putting the boots to so-and-so after you 3D'd him?" I was like, "Well, we, just continuing to get a little heat." He goes, "What's bigger than your finish?" I go, "Nothing." He goes, "Then why would you put the boots to them?" Okay, now I get it. So that what Lyra did looked, as you said, vicious, as I said, violent. Boom, that's enough. Or it's enough just to lay out for a couple of seconds and soak in the booze. That's what I don't... Soaking in the booze is more important. You're now getting over. You're getting over with heel heat. You're allowing the people to acknowledge it. And if you just sit there and don't do anything, they will continue to boo louder.
Well, I got to tell you, it got the reaction that they would have wanted because the boo birds came flying. Now, listen, I know this, and, I know you don't watch Unreal, but this is an example of it being explained on Unreal, is when we saw the same thing with Lyra and Becky, though it was Becky turning on Lyra. Lyra talked about they didn't get the reaction that they were hoping for. The fans were actually chanting to Becky one more time. And listen, you only get that moment once, right? You only get the moment once. And the moment that they wanted and the reaction that they wanted, it didn't happen. And then it took time for Becky to really be that heel. For the longest time, you and I are coming on, the fans don't want to boo her. The fans don't want to boo her until finally the fans started booing her. But it didn't happen the moment with Lyra. Why? Because the fans weren't as emotionally connected to Lyra as they are with Bayley. And maybe there was a little bit of fear about what that moment was going to be last night. But they didn't have to worry because there's a big difference. And this is not a knock on Lyra, but Bayley has, over time, has accumulated so much respect from the fans that when they see her get knocked down the way they did last night, that's when you're going to get the boos. And Lyra got the boos last night. Good on her.
What they did with Lyra and Bayley last night worked. There are little things here and there that I, would have fine-tuned, but what they did worked. And how do you know it worked? The sound that was coming from that audience. That's it.
Yeah, and that's all you want. You want those boos, and they definitely got those boos. Now with Lyra, let's just look at Lyra. I think Lyra is somebody, and I've said it on this show, we get MVP performances from Lyra. As a babyface, she connected, but maybe not the way you ultimately want to connect with the WWE Universe. What are your hopes for Lyra moving forward? What should the follow-up be from Lyra? Because this was an impactful moment last night. I'm asking you, as one of the greatest heels of all time, how should she follow up the next time we see Lyra?
I have to give you a broad stroke on this because the details will be figured out by creative. What needs to be done is creative needs to write something for Lyra next week that follows up on her viciousness directed towards Bayley. Her violence directed towards Bayley. We need to hear the why she decided to do it. But I don't want to hear Lyra cut a promo like her memorizing words off a piece of paper. I want to hear her cut her promo like Jey Uso cut it last night. I want you to immerse yourself into this character. You're getting whenever you get the opportunity to talk for the first time after your physical heel turn. I got the physicality worked. Now you got to follow it up with the verbal. I need to hear the disdain in your voice. I need to hear the hatred for Bayley. Every word that comes out of your mouth should make me want to boo louder. And by the time the promo is over, everybody in the arena should be looking at Lyra Valkyria and saying, screw you, we don't like you, we hate you, we despise you for what you did to Bayley. Now, what I just said there is just old school heel heat 101. Any good heel will immerse themselves into anything that they do. That's what Lyra has to do. You can't write something for the girl, for the woman, that she's just going to go out there and read words off of a paper that sound mean, sound vicious, sound violent, but are not presented that way. She needs to really become what she was last night in the ring. Does that explain it?
Yes, definitely. And I just wonder if the WWE is going to give her that freedom, or when it comes to Lyra Valkyria, if she could step up and do it. And
I would never use the word freedom.
Okay. All right.
Why would the WWE give Lyra Valkyria freedom?
I mean, I maybe freedom is the wrong word, but to be able to express herself in the passion that Jey Uso did last night.
That's up to Lyra.
I know, but I don't know if you can do that with a fully scripted promo.
You can. I'm going to show.
But can Lyra do it?
Here's what I would do if I was Lyra Valkyria. Assuming next Monday night they're going to hand her a promo, right? I would take that promo and I would go right to Paul Heyman. And I would hand my promo to Paul Heyman and I would ask him, can you please explain to me in detail even if you have to do the promo for me to show me how I should be speaking, the tone in my voice, the volume in my voice, the inflection in my voice, show me how I need to deliver that promo. And there you have it. Because if you're left to your own, there have been times in my career, and I'll always go back to Paul. I appreciate you saying one of the greatest heels ever. And I pride myself in anything that I've ever done to generate heat. And I go beyond heat. I don't do heat, I do hate. And hate draws fucking money, and always has. I have asked him, how do I maximize the potential in what I'm saying right here? Where's the emphasis? Where's the point that I stop in your mind? In my mind, it might be, I might go through it, but in his mind, he might say, Bubba, stop right here and don't say a word until they come down from the boos. Well, how do you know they're going to be booing right there? Because I can feel it. So if I'm Lyra, you're asking, can Lyra pull off what I just said? I don't know, but I know what she or any other talent in this situation could do. And I'm only picking Paul Heyman because Paul Heyman is the best talker in the WWE.
All right, because there's two ways I can picture in my brain. There's two ways that they can present this next week. They could present it where it's Lyra in the middle of the ring with a microphone, or it may be Bayley in the middle of the ring with the promo in the ring calling out Lyra. Now, maybe the WWE in this situation, if they're not 100% secure that Lyra can cut that kind of a promo, because this segment is going to be the follow-up to what we saw last night. Probably the most important, not probably, the most important promo in Lyra Valkyria's career is what we're going to hear next week on Monday Night Raw. Maybe they want Bayley in the ring with Lyra when she cuts that promo, because then at least you know you're definitively going to get a reaction from that crowd because Bayley's going to be there.
Great. Then Lyra Valkyria should look daggers into Bayley's eyes. There is nothing more that I love to do than have that person across from me. So I would look through the person. Look through the person with hatred. Make sure your words cut that person down. Make sure you can see the slightest tick in their cheeks rising or blinking. Look for their reaction to you talking to them, at them, through them. That's a lot, though. And that really doesn't go on in the world of the WWE so much anymore. Yeah, we get that tension with Punk and Roman when Punk says, your dead father, or whatever the line we said. Like when you see Punk's eyes, you see the venom in it. Punk talks with conviction. Punk looks directly at you because he's legitimately trying to get you to react to whatever we're saying to each other in the world of sports entertainment. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, I think I'd rather see that scenario from Lyra than just herself in the ring. Like,
Dave, when Hulk Hogan was standing in front of me, I would salivate. And I challenged him to take off his glasses, and he wouldn't do it. When I would stand across the ring from Hulk, you talked about the word opportunity, right?
Yes.
Legitimately, I could feel the saliva welling up in my mouth because I knew now this is the opportunity. You're a fucking tag wrestler who the world never thought could be in a spot like this. Now is your opportunity. And I sat there and I looked across from him. I said, take your sunglasses off. And he wouldn't do it. And I was like, I got him. But I don't know if the wrestling business goes that deep or that far.
No, but you can. Like, if you were talking to Lyra, if I got the opportunity to talk to Lyra, I would tell her to think about that moment when Becky turned on her and the fans are chanting one more time.
You got to go for the jugular, Dave. You got to go for the jugular. Lyra's next opportunity to speak could be her Austin 316 moment.
It's going to be the most important. It really is the most important opportunity that she's ever had in the WWE. You just turned. You got a reaction. People hate you in this moment, but you got to figure out a way and find a way to keep that going and keep the momentum going.
And if I don't know how to...
they'll forget about it. They will forget about that moment.
And how quickly do wrestling fans forget about things these days?
In an instant.
Right. So if I'm not sure, or if I say to myself, wow, I don't have this in me, but if somebody shows me how to do it, I'm going to give myself a better chance. Paul Heyman, show me how to do this promo. And then mimic it. We're talking about somebody a situation where we're going to probably tune in next Monday and Bayley's going to beat up Lyra Valkyria. And we're going to start laughing about how much time we spent on this. But the time we're spending on this is in Lyra's best interest and how she can maximize her opportunity whenever that next opportunity is given.